strongly encourages all countries to go against this amendment, as incorporating passages into the goal of the ICDC will require too much funding and will make the ICDC goal not specific enough, thus decreasing the efficiency that the ICDC has currently. Thank you.
Delegates, how many points of information is Delegate of France, delegate of Iran, and delegate of delegate of South Korea. You have been.
Since the ICC is supposed to be a permanent organization, doesn't it
To be much more effective, if it was only centered towards one type of pandemic, which is like a viral pandemic.
Granted.
if in the future another kind of pathogen causes a pandemic as the same scale, will there be another organization formed?
The delegate of Russia believes that another organization specifically aimed at that type of pathogen would be much more effective than just having the ICDC also cover all the pandemics in general.
Delegate of Iran, you have been recognized. Delegate of South Korea, you have been recognized.
The delegate of
Would the delegate please rephrase your question in a more audible manner?
Doesn't the delegate of Russia believe that it would be more effective for all countries to prevent all types of pathogens from spreading internationally to reduce the cost of funds and other resources?
Would the delegate please rephrase your question one more?
The delegate of Russia believe that it would be more effective for all countries to prevent all types of spread of pathogens, including viruses and other types, before they are spread internationally to reduce.
World organization will be more effective in having.
There's one more POI available. Are there any delegates wishing to ask for POI? Also a pathogenic disease. Delegate of Russia aware that COVID-19 is also a pathogenic disease.
Yes, but however, the delegate of Russia believes that we should only aim towards one type of pathogen disease. That way, the organization ICDC can be more efficient in solving that one disease.
Thank you, delegate. There is one more. Are there any motions to move on to voting procedures? Are there any seconds? Are there any objections? Voting procedures for this amendment submitted by the delegate of Iran. Admin, please secure the doors and suspend all note passing. Delegates can vote for or against. There will be no abstention. All those wishing to vote for this, please coordinate with your nations. Vote. You are not a nation, I'm sorry. All those wishing to vote against, raise your placards high. One delegate per country. Yes. Delegates, you have to coordinate with your with your respective representatives. If one of you disagrees or one of you agrees, you must discuss this, but you can only vote for one outcome. All those against, raise your placards high. Thank you, delegates. Due to simple majority for, this amendment passes. Please make the following changes to your resolutions. Okay, this chair will not make changes to this resolution. You'll be in charge of that. Yes. In short, this amendment simply changes all instances of the word virus to pathogen in clause 1 and clause 8. For those that are unsure or cannot read the screen clearly. The chair apologizes. Are there any delegates who have not made the changes to their resolution? Please raise your placards high. Seeing as there is only a minority, we will be now moving on to the next amendment submitted by the delegate of Israel to add subclause 1D, to add another subclause to clause 1. Delegate, please speak in a more audible manner.
Will the chair reject the amendment?
The chair, the previous amendment?
Oh, no, the amendment.
The chair is projecting the amendment. Oh, apologies. The chair stands correct. It is now on. Delegate, you have 1 minute to make this speech. The floor will be open for 2 speakers for, 2 against. This counts as the first 4 speech. Delegate, you may begin when you are ready. You have 1 minute.
Distinguished chair,
Oh my God.
Distinguished chairs and honorable delegates, Delegate Israel strongly agrees with the ICDC's intentions and mindsets and encourages all nation states to accept the ICDC involvement. However, the Delegate Israel believes that adding another subclause to Clause 1 would be more beneficial and clear to others. Additionally, the Delegate of Israel believes that adding the subclause to allow in subclause 6 could be more convenient. Therefore, the Delegate Israel strongly urges all delegates to vote for this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Is the delegate open to any points of information?
And you know,
Delegate is open to any and all, however, we will entertain 2. Delegate, please raise your placard in a way that can be seen. Delegate France, and delegate. Granted.
delegate please speak in more argument?
May the delegate please speak in a more audible manner.
Is the delegate aware that in Clause 6 specifically addresses the provision of medical supplies?
Yes, the delegate is aware, but however, the delegate is aware believes that the main goal of adding this subclause with ICBC's actions and mindsets.
Thus, does the delegate of
Israel.
does the delegate of Israel to Clause C, since that Clause C
No, the delegate does not believe it is repetitive.
does the delegate think that what value would this
That other countries will accept ICBC involvement and mindset, and also additionally the transportation and medical supplies in subclause in clause 6.
will the delegate please yield the floor back to the chair, seeing as there are no more POIs? Thank you. We will now be entertaining one more speaker for this amendment. Are there any delegates wishing to take the floor? The chairs look favorably upon motion to keep the debate flowing. Please speak loudly.
Motion to give to speaker, yes.
That is are there any seconds?
Second.
Are there any objections? That is an order. We will now be moving into speakers against this resolution. This amendment, the chair stands corrected. Are there any delegates wishing to take the floor?
Delegate of Italy, Iraq, delegate Italy, and delegate of Russia, yes, Russia. Delegate
지금 델릭에 올라갔는데 샘원으로 바꿔 야 되지 않나? 지금 델릭에 한참 올라갔거든? 이제 샘원으로 바꿔야 되지 않나? 뭐라고?
Go ahead and speak.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and most esteemed guests. The delegate of Italy believes that clause this amendment is extremely useless and also redundant to the resolution as a whole. Firstly, the amendment requests all nations to follow all actions undertaken by the ICC. The delegate of Italy believes that clause
What a personal privilege.
Yes, delegates.
Audibility.
Delegate, please get your mask and proceed to make the speech with the mic. Please hurry.
Apologies, delegates.
Delegate, you may begin your speech when you are ready.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and most esteemed guests, the delegate of Italy is strongly against this amendment because she believes that it is not useful and also redundant. Firstly, the amendment mentions that it requests all nations to comply with all with member states about how to further prevent and eliminate current and future harmful viruses. The delegate of Italy believes that through communication and collaboration, if countries come to a common understanding, then it is not necessary to request the nations to comply. Secondly,
First, thank you for your speech. The delegate of India wants to ask the delegate of Italy, Italy about. So, even though the delegate of India is okay, even though the delegate of Italy is against on this amendment, is the delegate of Italy willing to comply with other nations?
yes, the delegate of Italy believes that through collaboration and communication already mentioned in the resolution, countries are already going to comply, so it is unnecessary to, again, request them to comply since this resolution already urges to do that.
Delegate of Russia, you've been recognized.
POI.
Granted.
Does the delegate of Italy agree that this amendment is absolutely unnecessary and would make it complex, or would increase the complexity of this resolution for no reason?
Chair, please ask the delegate.
Delegate, please rephrase your question.
Does the delegate of Italy agree that there's no point to this amendment and it would just
because it is redundant. It already repeats things that are already mentioned in this resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing as there are no more points of information. Oh, yes. That is an order. Delegate of Russia, please approach the podium and make your speech. You have 1 minute. Delegate, please begin when you're ready. You have 1 minute.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. The delegation of the Russian Federation thanks the delegate of Israel for the addition of an amendment. However, this delegate does not believe that it would significantly improve the current resolution and instead lessens its clarity. The delegate of Russia believes that it is highly redundant, and it is already stated in greater detail in Clause 4, subclauses A, B, C, D, and E. Proposed solutions by the ICDC, as the delegate which reads recommended by the ICDC in disease control. Strongly urges all delegates to vote against this amendment.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate
책 어디요?
POI.
Any and all.
Delegate interpreters of the POI. Delegate of Finland, you've been recognized.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Please
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, Delegate.
Can a country ask its own country a POI?
No, that's not. Delegate of Finland, you've been recognized.
So, Israel's trying to add to resolution. Could the delegate please clarify how requiring mask wearing in public areas relates to the clause trying to be added?
The delegate's speech did not mention this clause, as it states that the amendment submitted by Israel is simply highly redundant and does not state anything about the addition of clause 4.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. There's still one more case for point of information already on the floor. Please,
Yield back to the chair.
thank you, Delegate. Seating for speaking. Procedures for the amendment submitted by the delegate of Israel. Adam, please secure majority, this amendment does not pass. Please do not make the following changes to your resolution. We will now be entertaining an amendment submitted by the delegate of the U.S. to add subclause 6D to clause 6. Delegate, will you please approach the podium and make your speech for this amendment? You have 1 minute. We will be entertaining one speaker for and one against due to time constraints. Apologies, delegates. So this will count as a speech for, and after the delegate has given her speech, we will move directly into speakers against. You may begin when you're ready, delegate.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and most esteemed guests, Clause 6 has mentioned providing funding and conducting investigations within vaccine production factories. However, the delegate of the USA believes that the clause could be made even more effective by encouraging nations to expand the facilities in which medical supplies are made. Emphasize the importance and made widely available that is equitable, especially in areas where they are most needed. The delegate believes that this amendment effectively encapsulates the responsibilities of the ICDC and of all nations regarding production during COVID-19, and urges the House, as responsible and capable nations, to vote for this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Is the delegate open to any questions or information? Any at all questions? On the floor. Chair Lai, you have been recognized. Please, rise. Francis.
Meet these demands as whether the expansion of facilities is too costly or time-consuming for these companies.
The delegate of the USA believes that, in these unprecedented times, with the help of the ICDC, all nations should be able to adequately improve their manufacturing and production systems to meet the rapidly increasing needs of citizens.
Seeing as there are no more points of information, will the delegate please come back to the floor? Thank you, delegate. We will now be moving into this amendment. Are there any on the floor? Delegate of France, you have, Chair has already recognized Delegate of France. Apologies, he raised his placard first. Delegate of France, please approach the podium and make your speech. You have 1 minute. You may begin when you're ready, delegate.
Amendment. These owned are private, for a single person, for profit. By opening these companies, the ICDC and governments are favoring some companies while hurting others. This is really bad for any other company that has not had factories built. Secondly, this is going to cost a lot of money that the private corporations could have spent themselves. So this not only the market by supporting some companies and hurting others. You know,
Information. Delegate has stated in his speech that the delegate believes the solution to the increasing demand in citizens is not reasonable. Can the delegate please suggest some other solutions that can be made to deal with the demands that are rising?
two responses. Firstly, it is not the fact that there is not enough vaccines, but the terrible distribution of those vaccines. Some companies have certain instead of making more. And secondly, it is not this delegate's responsibility to answer any new ways of creating like more vaccines, which of course we don't really need anyways.
Follow-up. So is the delegate stating that it is not the responsibility of ICDC to create more vaccines?
As this delegate has clearly said, there is more than enough vaccines right now. It is the main problem that is distribution. Countries are getting distributed unequally of the vaccines, more than enough. And if the ICDC and many pharmaceutical companies can make a vaccine as soon as possible, there is going to be no need for more vaccine, just the bad distribution of it.
Point of order, fact check. Could we check the delegate of France's claim in that there's more than enough vaccines already?
Is there a specific numerical value the delegate of Russia is looking for?
I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm unable to hear the chair. Can the chair repeat your question?
The delegate of Russia has asked for evidence of their security and abundance of vaccine. Is there a specific numerical value that the delegate of Russia is not asking?
Okay, thank you. Do I do this in the form or now? The form.
Delegates, you guys can continue your correspondence in no form in regards to what each delegate is a position about. Thank you, delegate. Seeing as there are no more POIs, will the delegate please yield the floor back to the chair? Are there any delegates who are raising their placards without saying anything? If you're wishing to make a point of order or a point of parliamentary inquiry, you have to say so.
Motion to extend points of information.
Point of speakers for this amendment have now elapsed. We will be moving into voting procedure for this amendment. Delegates can vote either for or against. There will be no abstentions. Admin, please secure the doors and suspend all note passing. All delegates wishing to vote for this amendment, raise your placard. All those against. Due to overwhelming majority, this amendment does not pass. Do not make any changes to your resolution.
If you don't have the camera, get it.
Are there any delegates wishing to make any motions in the House? The chair has received word of mouth that there is a motion to table the resolution as a whole. Are there any seconds? Second. Are there any objections?
Objection.
Overruled. We will now be moving into speakers for and against tabling this resolution as a whole. Are there any delegates wishing to speak for tabling this resolution? Delegate of Chair Kim. Delegate of Chair Joe. Delegate of Chair Kim. Other Kim. You have been recognized in that order. Please approach the podium and make your speech. Chair Kim 1, you have 1 minute. Delegate, you have 1 minute. Apologies. You may begin when you're ready.
The delegate of Kim believes that this resolution must be tabled. That is because there is a plethora of logical shortcomings with this resolution. First and foremost, the delegate of Russia and the United Kingdom has stated that they will be putting aside their previous shortcomings, which they make it seem trivial. No, this is a huge mistake. National security is not and will never be a trivial matter. Ironically, the delegate of the United Kingdom seems to be mistaken under the impression that Russia's crimes could be ignored. Never will Russia be trustworthy. The delegate of the United Kingdom even ignored the fact that Russia is not a credible nation, since it has infiltrated the UK, in spite of the numerous legal treaties. Russia has also infiltrated the signatory nations, such as Mexico, Australia, Sweden, and mostly all developed nations in this committee room today. Secondly, the delegate of Dominic believes that, that the main merits of this resolution is with the introduction of ICDC. However, this organization is largely redundant with the already existing organizations. Furthermore, the main submitters have not addressed the larger issues here. For this organization to work, countries like China and Russia will have to cooperate since this resolution does not force all the member nations in the UN to undertake this attempt. The delegate of Dominic knows for a fact that this resolution is inefficacious. Thank you.
Laughing is not in order. Is the delegate open to any points of information? Delegate has opened itself up to any and all points of information. Are there any on the floor?
Let it reply.
Right reply. On what grounds?
Delegate of the chair Kim has called Russia untrustworthy and criminal organization and criminal country. This delegate does not believe that Russia is this type of country and would like an apology from Delegate Kim.
That is an order. Delegate of Kim, please respond.
Delegate of Kim will never apologize because Russia is definitely not credible, and as stated before, Russia has also infiltrated the signatory nations and also the other main submitter, which is quite ironic, and therefore I believe that the signatories and these main submitters are mistaken.
Thank you, Delegate. We will now be moving into points of information. Are there any in the House? Please raise your placards high. Delegate of UK, Delegate of Sweden, Delegate of US. Delegate of US? The chair stands corrected. Please raise your placards again. Delegate of India, Delegate of UK, Delegate of Russia, Delegate of US, and Delegate of Sweden. We will be entertaining these first. You have been recognized in that order. Delegate of India.
Point of information.
You must wear your mask. Wear your mask.
Thank you. Thank you for your speech. Delio Kim. Since the Delio Kim says that Russia is uncredible nation, the Delio of India would like to ask about the vaccination that is producing in Russia.
Delegate, please rephrase your question.
So, does the Delio of Kim think that the vaccination in Russia is also credible? Like,
I think that the delegate of Russia is talking about the vaccination of Russia. Vaccines in Russia is definitely not credible. It has a lower efficacy rate than those of the United States, and definitely the trials have not gone through many stages. It's only been in experimental stages, and it's just been given to citizens, which is definitely not safe.
Let it reply. Let it reply.
Overruled. Overruled. Delegate of UK, you have been recognized. Oh, chair stands corrected. Was the delegate wishing to raise a point? Delegate of UK, you have been recognized. Please rise and state your point. Granted. Oh.
This delegate believes that the delegate of Kim used personal pronouns.
The chair has already made the announcement to refrain from using personal pronouns. The chair has no control over what comes out of the mouth of the delegate of Chair Kim. Laughing is not in order. Delegate of UK, please rise and state your point.
Point of information.
Granted.
Despite the repetitive mention of Russia-UK foreign relationship in Chair Kim's speech, what specific parts of the bigger issue, as Delegate of Chair stated in his speech, has this resolution not addressed?
The bigger issues of this resolution is with the introduction of the ICDC. This organization is largely redundant with the already existing organizations. That is because there's the organizations such as the WHO COVID-19 Emergency Committee, which basically serves a similar role. The main problem that the delegate of required for all member nations of the UN to join. And since it is similar with the already existing COVID-19 thing, where there's a lot of conflicting interests between different nations. For example, China stalled the WHO inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus in the early
delegate
months.
does not
when-
believe that Chair Kim has answered her question. What specific in Chair Kim's speech has this resolution not addressed or resolved?
The delegate of Kim believes that the bigger issue with this CDC is largely redundant with existing organizations, and also bigger issues is not mandated for the to join. So there's weak power from the UN to with even.
You have been recognized. Point of information? Granted.
However, he stands against this resolution. Does he truly believe that all nations should not have a united front to solve this threat to humanity?
So that cooperation among nations